Hey, good morning, Misfits. It is June 15th, episode 480th episode. Today, the conversation is are you an imposter? This comes from Alicia Heisha, who works with a lot of Hollywood stars. She's part of the inner circle that I'm a part of. An amazing soul. And she talks about this in her trailblazing seminars that she does, but she shared it with us here probably 4 weeks ago in our conversation. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to have that conversation with you. But as we get started this morning, as is customary in this time of always a time of craziness, we'll get a little good morning, some good morning words from our own pink robe lady. Good morning, RBP.
Good morning. Give me just one.
Okay, no worries. So as we get started, and you just jump in and tell me when you're ready. As we get started this morning, go ahead and send out your 3 messages of joy, of gratitude, of peace. I'd encourage you to send out more than 3. Be an overachiever of joy. That'd be a cool thing.
Okay.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Let me start us off with prayer right quick. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this day, for this moment right now. Thank you for the sun rising and in some places setting again. Thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for the love that you show us and that you shine down on us constantly. And for the joy that you allow us to sit in and that you allow us to choose to remain in. Father, thank you for the discussion we're about to have. Let it hit our hearts exactly how we need it. And let it be confirmation for some situations and new paths for others. Help us to see your truth, reveal your light, and reflect that back to others so they'll see their path and their way. I just thank you for this moment. I ask you to be with Sean. Take control of his thoughts and his words and help him deliver the message you have for us today. We just say all this in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, RBP. I see Brittany's got her hand up. Let me just, if Brittany wants to chat now or if it's something that she wants to hang on for, either way, I'm fine. Good morning, Brittany.
I can hang on to it.
Okay. No worries. So the 8 imposters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Lisa Heisha, Haisha. She's this soul blazer. She does amazing work all over the world. She's just an incredible soul. And here's the imposters. How many of us sometimes show up as this imposter? I'll give them all to you, and I'll go over them again and again. So if you're going to make a list of them, you can make them, and then I'll repeat them a couple of times. 1 is the wounded inner child. 2 is the overthinker. Number 3 is the therapist. The narcissist. Now, this isn't about thinking of the people in your life who show up that way. This is about how you show up. The wounded inner child, the overthinker, the therapist, the narcissist, the sex god or goddess, the philosopher, the clown, and the fixer. So as you go through your days and as you think about different moments in your life, have you ever showed up as any of these imposters? I know I have. And they can all wreak havoc. And she has a quiz. If you Google Lisa Heisha, Haisha, Soul Blazer, you can go take this quiz and find out which one you might be more of. But if you just listen to them, you can see how you can rotate in and out of these on a daily basis throughout the day. And these imposters cause us to look at life from their perspective, from their point of view, right? That's what we're always having a conversation about on these daily awakenings. Yesterday, when Leo had never said words before, but it had always been inside of him. Sometimes it's when the words come out, we start to realize we no longer are walking around as the imposter in this life called us. And that's part of finding your secret sauce, is getting through all of the confusion and all of the chaos that's called us, and into this dialogue of awakening and awareness that allows us to be us. Because if we're not these, then who are we? We're our true self. And that's the part that's a challenge to show up in, to show up as. Because when we can start to identify something, right? It's kind of like you walk in someplace and you go, what's that smell? And you try to identify the smell. Or you're in the fridge. If you've ever been in the fridge and you're trying to go, man, something doesn't quite smell right in the fridge. And you're trying to find out where that source of that smell is, so you could remove it, right? So you don't want to smell that. Well, the challenge is that sometimes we show up as the overthinker. That's in the people I mentor and coach. That's probably the biggest one. I haven't really come across in my mentoring. I know a bunch of them, the sex god or goddess, but that's not a big one. It's usually the overthinker, the narcissist, or the wounded inner child. But the overthinker is a big one. The overthinker is a real big one. Trying to figure their way through the process and hadn't even started, and trying to figure out the 17 ways it's going to end, and not even there yet. So as you go through your day, just take a look at where you're at. Where are you sitting right now? As you sit right now and listen to this conversation, are you one of these? Are you sitting there and saying, this is, where do you sit right now? And then what would it be like to sit as the authentic you? When you find your secret sauce and you find you, the one who none of those matter anymore. How do you sit in your authentic you? And the challenge is that to sit in your authentic you, you might, it could be years since you've ever seen you. It could be years since you've ever met you. It might be that you've never met you. And that's where we sat and watched yesterday as Leo does what Leo does so well, has an open dialogue, and the dialogue was with himself. And that's what happens when you start to find your authentic self. You do have a dialogue, a back and forth with yourself. And when you awaken to that, it's not unlike what he went through yesterday. And if you weren't on the call yesterday, I'd encourage you to go back and watch the call, because it's pretty powerful to watch the individuals who did just start to get to their authentic self. Now, the challenge is once you find it, now what do you do with it? It's very easy to go back and become the scared child, oh God, I felt like a fool doing that. How many of us have ever done something and we said, man, I felt like a fool doing that? And the reason is because maybe it was our true self. You were uncomfortable with being your authentic self because people will say to you, have you lost your mind? Have you lost your mind? And what they're saying is that, have you lost your place in my mind? You have lost your place in my mind. Therefore, I'm not sure how to act with the new you. If somebody says to you, when you start to do a Wayne Dyer on this, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. When somebody says to you, have you lost your mind? That could be one of the nicest compliments they've ever said. If you can hear it from the place of your new mind, not with defense, not with aggravation, not with agitation. It's interesting when you start to have a dialogue with questions. When somebody says, have you lost your mind? And you could ask, which mind does it seem like I've lost? See, you have to sit in your authentic you, though, to be able to have that dialogue instead of becoming defensive. If you become the observer, when this idea of becoming the observer, of becoming the witness to the interaction, you will be amazed at the true dialogues you get to hear when you communicate with people. So the wounded inner child, so somebody put up the link to the quiz. The wounded inner child, the overthinker, the therapist, the narcissist, the sex god or goddess, the philosopher, the clown, and the fixer. They can all wreak havoc on our lives. So something to think about as we begin our process, our Good Monday morning dialogue. And good morning, Brittany. Let's go to Brittany.
Well, now I feel all attacked.
Have you lost your mind?
I'm like, overthinker, check. Okay, narcissist, check. Therapist, check. Philosopher, check. I'm like, oh no. And now that I heard that, I was like, this explains the way that I was feeling yesterday. And I was texting Rhonda about it. And it's so interesting because this journey though is like, okay, hurdle. Run. Oh, okay, mountain. So it's like one step until it isn't. So I identified something within myself, and anytime I text Rhonda and say something to her, she just always says it's addiction to approval. And it's like, okay, I get that. I'm like,
But I'm just addicted to that.
I'm like, okay, what else is it? Okay, so me in group settings, right? As I've went through my involvement with different social groups throughout my life, and even right now, presently, it kind of feels as if, it doesn't kind of feel, it's as if it's always me by myself, and then I enter a group that's already formed versus having my own group. So sometimes I feel kind of etched out maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, I don't want to be here. And then I leave that group and then maybe go to a new group. And what else did I feel yesterday? Yeah, like sometimes when I don't like when people do stuff without me, especially if I'm involved in the group. It's like,
You
why?
don't like when they do things without you?
No.
Okay.
But no, so certain things I don't mind. But like, let's just say, for instance, in my business, we have teams, different teams. And it's like, how can I put this? Sometimes I take things that that aren't personally addressed to me personally. And I'm charging it to their heart and not their head, if you've ever heard that saying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, don't you think, or wouldn't you have thought, but I guess not since they didn't, but it's like, seeing that I'm a part of your team, of quote unquote essential part of your team, valuable part of your team, worthy part of your team, don't you think that you should have communicated this with me? So when there's big important things that aren't communicated with me, it sometimes makes me feel invalued.
Okay. And so what can you do about that?
I don't know.
Well, start off with the big picture. You can choose joy or misery. Which would you choose?
Oh, right, that.
Oh yeah, that thing. What would be the idea? What would be the greatest thing that could happen with your community, with your team?
Unity.
Okay. What would be the greatest thing as it relates to you?
Inclusiveness.
They need you all the time, or they don't need you ever again?
Probably they don't need me ever again.
All right. So isn't your working, wouldn't the leadership be to work towards finding a replacement all the time?
Yes, but this is coming from, it's not me down, it's me up.
Oh, then
Yeah.
but where does your business start?
With me.
And which direction? You up or you
And
down? You up or you down?
well, it starts up.
Your business only goes from you which way. You only get compensated which way? From what's above
Yeah,
you or what's
down.
below you?
Yeah, what's below me?
So your business starts from you down. What they do up above, really could care less.
Well, then what's the point of being involved if we're not gonna work together?
Listen, if they don't involve you, you have to be the one that involves your team. But if they don't involve you, that's their choice. My business starts from me down.
I guess that's true.
Just kick me out
But
of the job. I
be trying not to be like that, Sean, because this is, it's a walking progress.
It
Because
is.
once I get into that mode, it's like, well, F all y'all, you ain't gonna say shit to me no more. Like,
Right.
and I try to keep
The
it
key is to understand, though, they can include you. There's something very unique that you have to offer, and it would make sense for them to find a way to include that. They may not know how to include you. That could be the issue. The challenge is, though, is that too many people are worrying about what their neighbor's doing when they got to cut their grass in their front yard. And this business, when you understand the structure of this business is such that what my upline does, I can leverage it. My upline runs a whole bunch of contests. I mean, there's got to be 4 or 5 contests going on every day for all kinds of activities. I plug my team in around the world into every one of those. And a lot of times they're the ones winning. Awesome. I will leverage the heck out of that. I will give gratitude. I will give thanks. I'll be the first one waving the flag going, I can't believe you do this all the time. We win, yada, yada. Send private notes. Thank you. Thank you. But I'm not the one sitting there going, hey, listen, what contests can we run? With as many contests as she run, I would be exhausted all day long. She goes till 4 a.m. I'm up at 5 a.m. So our clocks don't always cross times, but we have conversations, and she's a direct connection to the company. So when I do need something, I can go to her and go, hey, listen, we've got this going on in Latin America. We need to fix this, this, and this. Okay. She's hands-on everywhere, but there's so many, she has so many private groups, chats in Facebook. I don't know how she keeps track of them all, but I'm not a part of 80% of them. And I'm cool with that because a lot of them are for females. A lot of them are for people who are beginning and moving through the process. And it's just, I mean, this is somebody who puts 300 people on their team in a month, them personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not my cup of tea. I love it. I love that I get to be a part of it. But what she does, and as long as I pull my weight, I take care of my team. That's the best leader you could have.
I think I'm trying to get to the root because I'm listening to how you're responding, and I'm listening to what I said.
Right.
And I'm such a contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm like, it's always just me. And then I go here. And then I'm like, me again. So naturally, I have to take accountability for excluding myself physically and mentally.
Right.
But I'm trying to figure out, why do I feel these ways?
Would you like to lay down on the couch?
Yes.
I love it. It goes back to being the inclusiveness and the fear of falling in like with folks who could hurt you. Because this business is a harsh business. Our profession is a harsh business because there are no rules. There's rules, but there are no rules when it comes to personalities. And we can become easily, there is no business protocol when you're two individuals who are at odds with each other. You can't get fired from this business for being an ass.
Right.
And that's the big issue. That's where this I love what this profession can do for people. But I don't really like what it can do to people.
Right.
So that's where if we're the wounded inner child and we're the overthinker, we can get lost in this business real quick by being so busy and not a dang thing happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you get people who get a little bit of authority. They sponsor two people, and all of a sudden they think they're at the top of the comp plan, and they want to run the rules, and they want to tell you how they did it. It's like, you got lucky twice. What do you mean how you did it? But you have to sit there and walk them through the process.
Right.
Unless you don't, and then if you don't walk them through the process, they're like, well, you're a witch on a broomstick and I'm out. And that's where people try to, when they get on conference calls, they're like, well, I just want them to be my sponsor. So it can be the most vicious business on the planet. At least with the mafia, there's a code of honor. Right? People haven't been in business long enough sometimes as they stroll through this economy called network marketing to understand the true essence of it. The true essence of it is to disappear. When you can disappear, you've done your job. And those who want the spotlight is because they've been starving for it. They need it. They think they have the secret sauce that is, I know how to take this thing to the top. Awesome. It's a very small molehill you're on top of right now, but you look great at standing on it. You do look a little taller. So as you sit there, it's easy. Once you grasp watching all of the people be these amazing characters in this movie called Your Life, you know where to go buy your ticket and where to get your popcorn at now. It is a profession, and as your community grows larger, you wind up with people who are absolutely amazing. Every sense of them, every step of them you're in awe. Because you're like, I have never seen anybody do it that way. That is so absolutely incredible. So as we sit there and as you awaken to your own essence, and this is, I know it sounds so, I don't know what the word would be, sophomoric, childish, so utopian. When you awaken to yourself, when you awaken to your secret sauce, the thing that makes you so uniquely you, you can sit in the middle of all of these interesting conversations and literally go, "Aw, this is so amazing. I love this." You do have to step out of the wounded inner child, the overthinker, the therapist, the narcissist, the sex god or goddess, the philosopher, the clown, or the fixer. I can't do any of those. I can only be me. And me isn't even the name I was given. I was named, I was watching, what's his name? He hangs out with The Rock. They're in Jumanji together. What's that young guy's name?
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart was listening. I was watching a talk show, and Ice Cube was on there, and the speaker says, he says, "Ice Cube," he says, "You're Irish." He says, "I am." and Chris and Kevin Hart goes, wait a minute. Let me tell you. He goes, "He ain't Irish. His mama was sitting somewhere and she heard somebody say something to go, what was that name? Yeah, O'Shea. That's a good name. I'm gonna name my kid O'Shea." It didn't have anything to do with lineage or, well, I kind of got named the same way. Sean, my mother heard it. It wasn't Sean Connery. She heard somebody else was named that. And she goes, "That's what I'm going to name my son." Now, granted, my dad's Irish and it makes sense, but I didn't think I'd have got that name if I wasn't Irish. So even the name we're given isn't us. How tall we are isn't us. Because when we die, that's not the us that showed up. That's not the I that birthed us. That's not the I that beats your heart and runs your body right now. That's not the I that wakes you up from your unconsciousness and brings you back to consciousness. Although that I may be the one that hits the snooze button 13 times. It's not even that I that hit the snooze button. So when you come into your I, when you come into your knowing, when you come into your own awakening, and you can sit in the middle of all of these storms and go, this breeze feels great. Because there is a choice, joy or misery. It's not that simple. You're right. For who? And as we awaken to that, that's what finding becoming part of your secret sauces. That's what understanding this you can't affect me anymore, because the perfection that I am is just that. And every moment I'm choosing to constantly adapt and adopt it to this moment, to be in this moment joy, because I learned what joy was. If I learned what joy was yesterday, if I learned what joy was this morning, and if I learned what joy was just a second ago, it's the same thing as happiness in our life. I give you a cake at 8 years old, and I give you a cake at 20 years old. You're happy, but they're two different levels of happiness. I give you $50 in a birthday card. You freak out at 10 years old. I give you $50 now in a birthday card. You're like, thank you. Or I give you a gift card and no card. Oh, here, and you pull it out of your wallet. Oh, here's your birthday present. Oh, lots of thought went into that. Thanks. Appreciate you. We don't know how happy the happiest is will ever be until we can no longer have happy. All we know is that in this moment, I can be happier than I was before. I can be more joyful now. So understanding this idea of what they do, it's just what they're going to do. It's when they start to act out of their pattern that it might make us want to pay attention a little bit more. But they're going to just be creatures of habit. There's a chance you're walking into or bumping into somebody who's on their awakening path. I can promise you this, if you're part of Leo's community and Moshe's conversations between what they had yesterday and Gigi, they're showing up differently with their communities. They're showing up, they're probably even saying less now. And there's this dialogue that gets created instantly because there's this energy and they're like, man, you're different. What's going on? Just awakening. And there's this whole dialogue of connection and conversation that exists that didn't exist before. A whole new level of connection and conversation without saying anything. So I hope that helps. Gigi, good morning.
Good morning,
Good
everybody. It's interesting how you're talking about imposters this morning.
Is it really?
It's kind of going hand in hand with the conversation I had with myself yesterday, which is kind of based off of something that you said yesterday to me when you were pouring into me about me being vulnerable in this community, but you're not sure if I do it anywhere else. And then I questioned, what made him think that? And I'm like, oh, it's because you don't do it anywhere else. And I'm like, okay, so why do I struggle with being vulnerable in like other places? And then it goes back to being my authentic self and being concerned that people won't accept me for being my authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. And then it makes me wonder, like, what imposter am I? And I think I'm multiple. But it's like, why do I like question why I go through this battle of wanting to be accepted so bad? And then I know it stems from like childhood and, you know, being picked on and being teased on for just being myself, or people saying like, what's wrong with you, when I'm just being myself.
So what if that dialogue, because as you sit there on your bed, safe and sound,
Mm-hmm.
could people say right now, could there be people possibly saying on this call, what makes you so special and what are you doing here? Do you think they could be saying that behind their camera?
Possible.
And now that I just said it, because that's probably not a thought that went through your mind, does it matter?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a part of you that goes, well, I don't want them to say that.
Mm-hmm. It's a part of me that's like, I want everybody to like me.
Right. So here's the thing. If you don't show up as your authentic self, the people who don't like you, are they going to hang around?
No.
And if you show up as your authentic self, who's going to show up to be around you?
Authentic people?
And, well, let's hope so eventually. But it's people who like you.
Yeah.
And there's two ways to have the tallest building in town. What are the two ways to have the tallest building in town?
tear everybody else's down and build yours up.
Right. So if you're building yours up, what do you think the chances are you might run across a couple of deconstructors along the way?
Mm.
Then you've got to ask, how strong is your building? And is it okay if your building is the last one standing? Does your building become the refuge for other people who don't know how to deal with the deconstructors? When you realize the power that you have to be the tallest building in town, it could be a one-story building. But if the storm is coming or the rain is coming and people need shelter, guess where they get to go? They get to go to your one-story building. And here's the neat thing about being the place of refuge. You don't have any doors on your house. They can come in and they can leave. There is no requirement to come into your community. And if they leave, you wish them well and you give them a peanut butter sandwich and say, drive safely. What happens then is that you are forced out of your comfort zone and you are forced to build a bigger building, because otherwise that's not your authentic self. I'm building a bigger building. You know what the taxes are in a 2-story house? Good Lord, these people are nuts. Get the hell out of my house. That's probably not your authentic self. And then you build a 2-story building. Oh my gosh, every time I just finished, I've just put the last nail in the wall and the place is full already. Shocking. Now I got to go to work on me again. And that's the challenge with finding your authentic self. Because when you find your authentic self, you have the everlasting gobstopper of buildings. It just keeps getting bigger instantly, effortlessly, without thought, without work, without effort. And you have this huge building, this huge place where people show up and they can sit in your presence. And somebody walks in going, have you seen her hair? What the hell is she thinking with that hair? And everybody else is like, aw. You get dried off, go get yourself a peanut butter sandwich, and when you're ready, you can head out. Your community takes care of those individuals. And you build you. See, the challenge most people have with building their business in this profession, it's the 80-20 rule. Till you're at 40, 50 grand a month, it's 80% your business. You're still working on sponsoring, enrolling, taking care of people, moving people through the process, getting them to the next rank, sponsoring, building your business, sponsoring frontline, taking care of your business, building yourself, sponsoring, building your business. You get 20 people on your team, you go into management mode, give it 4 months. 6 months if you really like to be exhausted. Simple, basic fundamentals. Fun, simple, magical. People have got to be raising their hands. The challenge is when anybody ever seen Weekend at Bernie's? That's an old movie, but anybody ever seen Weekend at Bernie's? And what they do is they tie him up and they make him like he's alive, and it's a lot of work to move Bernie around. A lot of us have Bernies on our team. Fix my business. I thought, how come you haven't sponsored anybody for me? What have you done for me lately? Friggin' Bernies. Yep. And the question was, did we sponsor them dead or did they die on our watch? Ooh, snap. They were all excited and everything else. And he said, well, okay, you just sit there and I'll do everything for you. I was talking to somebody in my community, and they were talking to somebody cross-line, and they said, listen, if you were on my team, I'd be bringing you the water and then asking you when you needed to go pee so you could just keep going to work. I thought that was a funny line. Does that help, Gigi?
It does.
It does.
Gives me
I have
more to
another
think
question.
It gives me more to think about.
Okay.
It's just, but I don't know if it's another question.
Okay.
But because when you said that about me not being vulnerable around other like communities,
Mm-hmm.
it made me think about like social media
Mm-hmm.
and not being able to be vulnerable or like my authentic self on social media.
Well, so how do you become authentic on social media? Is it in a post
No.
or is it in a live?
Yeah.
The challenge with a post is it's a two-dimensional, multifaceted conversation, and the only way that somebody can hear whose voice do they hear when they read a post? 9 times out of 10, the person reading the post hears their voice. They don't hear your voice. Some of you, when you read somebody's text, you can read it and go, ooh, they're mad. And you're like, did they send you a voice message? No, they sent me a text. Well, all it says is, hey, and you know they're mad because you heard it in their voice.
Mm-hmm.
You all know what I'm talking about. The challenge with the challenge with your confused followers is that they read a post in their voice and they go, I don't know who she thinks she is. And you're trying to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps if they hear your voice, they see the whole package, right? Words are 7% of a presentation. That's why scripts don't work, usually. They're only 7% of 100% of a presentation. That's why we talk about in this profession, only 98%, 90% win or lose. 90% are struggling, only 10%. It's more like 2% win. Well, it's because they're focusing on the words, right? There's your formula. 97% failure rate if all you're focusing on is the formula and don't understand your essence, your secret sauce, how you present, how you speak, how you say words, how you show up, your cadence, your conversation, the way you look at folks, the way you listen to folks. We focus on the words. Give me a script. Tell me what to say. We'll say this. I said that, it didn't work. Well, of course it didn't work. You failed the test. You only got 7% of the test right. That's why part of your secret sauce is learning public speaking. So how do you become vulnerable? Start.
Mm-hmm.
How do you share? Start what you want to share. Ask people what they feel like ask people how do they become, how do they show up with vulnerability? And find your tribe. Your vibe will create your tribe. And your tribe is your psychographic, not your demographic. You look at the cross section of this, you look at the screen, there's a handful of people out of the 66 that are on here that even look like me. But we all think the same. We all kind of feel the same. We all would desire the same. Have more, do more, be in joy, not in misery. Does that help, Gigi?
It does. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. Let's go to Evelyn. Good morning, Evelyn.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. How is everyone doing? Well, I wanted to ask you, I've been feeling really good with my journaling and everything, but I still feel kind of like even though that I have this feeling like my life is about to change,
Mhm.
it's another part of me that it's like, but I don't see nothing happening, but I don't see nothing happening. And today when I was going to journal, I couldn't write anything.
So which part of you couldn't write anything? The old story or the change story?
The old one, maybe?
Yeah, the old one didn't want you to write. The new one's got plenty of stuff. The new one's got plenty of content. The new one's got unlimited content. The new one's standing at the frontier going, look at all of this unknown. And the old story's going, there's not a single thing that's going on here that I like. Because it's got to be, we're multiple people, right? We're happy person, we're sad person, we're joyous person, we're pissed off person. We got plenty of write in our journal person, and then we got plenty not to write in our journal person. If you just wrote down what you did yesterday, you sitting on the couch with your husband, and him in his ripped jeans, his sexy jeans, and his neat shoes, and you sitting there on the arm of the couch, did that ever make it in a journal yet?
No.
No, but that happened, didn't it? What starts to happen is that we habitualize that good things happening are nothing good. That's what you just said. If I were to analyze this and say, all of these good things are happening, but you have nothing to write. You don't want to document this history of great things happening. So therefore, the part of you absolutely shows up and shuts down the wall and goes, you got nothing. Evelyn, come on. All this good stuff, we don't need to write it down. It's not going to last. Come on. You've got books to write inside of you. Tell me the story of that beautiful top that you have on. Where did that come from?
This?
Yeah. This old thing?
No, it's not old. Actually, it's the first time I use it. Okay, it makes sense.
So what and the part of you that's, I don't want to say resisting it, but it's going, well, it's got to be more than that. That's the philosophizer. That's the philosopher. Right? That's the overthinker. That's the imposter showing up going, well, there's got to be more than that. It doesn't have to be more than that. Tell me about your top. Tell me about your headphones. When we can't write anything, write about anything. It's the old story showing up. Have you ever sat down to dinner with your husband and you knew you guys had to talk about something, but nobody was saying anything? But you knew there was 1,001 things to talk about. And you were just hoping, both of you were hoping you didn't bring up the topic, whatever it was that would get you mad. That's the same conversation you're having right now. You sit down with your journal and go, I have nothing to write. Who are you in an argument with? You have tons to write. You get to go sit on the beach every day. You get to go work out every day. You get to go have amazing memories with your spouse every day. You're telling me you got nothing to write? Hello, could I speak to Evelyn, please? Could Evelyn please come back? Evelyn to the front, please. Evelyn to the stage. And then you sit there and you say, oh my gosh, where did this come from? Jim Rohn would say, don't sign up for that class. That's the old you that's going to be around for the rest of your life. Because you know how old the old you is? Yesterday, day before yesterday, the day before the day before the day before yesterday, when you were 6 years old standing on the corner. That's all the old you. There's only this moment now, joy or misery. And when you can't write, I'm guessing I know it's not joy. I'm not sure what the other side of it is, but I know it's not joy. And that's how it starts to cripple us again. It sneaks in, it hides in, and it says, well, you got nothing to write. Go back to doing your stuff. And then there's a part of your soul that goes, I didn't journal. And it goes, yeah, see, you're not good enough to journal. It's crazy, isn't it? But that's why we're called crazy. That's why insanity is insanity. It makes no sense. You have hundreds of pages to journal. I'm guessing that, is that the bird in your background? Do I hear the bird in your background?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why do you think that bird just showed up when you had this awakening? Because he wasn't there when you started.
I don't know.
Because you're singing of joy now. And all of a sudden you put the Evelyn smile on your face that I know is when you're happy. And your dimples start to show up. And the birds are like, "Ah, there's Evelyn. Let's go sing with her." You can call me crazy. You can say, "Well, that's odd." It is odd. It's odd more people don't pay attention to it. So do you think you might have some stuff to journal now?
Yes, and it's crazy what you're saying, because when I'm gonna write, sometimes negative thoughts come like that, like, or again, you're gonna write something positive, and how about the negative? When I'm not even thinking about any negative, you know? But
Yep.
they do come and kind of like question it about it.
So love it. Write it down and go, you know what? I just had this negative thought. Let's talk about that.
I feel when I'm scared to write about negative stuff in the journal.
So write it on its own page, and guess what you get to do with that page if you don't like it?
Yeah.
Tear it out and
What?
burn it. Tear it out and burn it.
Okay.
But it has to get out. Otherwise we just keep pushing it down, and then what happens to a clogged pipe if we don't clean it out? It's gonna burst. It's gonna, and when it blows, it's gonna go everywhere. There she blows, and that's called a panic attack.
Okay.
So love it. Go, oh, look at this negative thought. I just was gonna write down positive. I wonder what this negative thought is, and love it. And I love that. Oh my gosh, and I love that. And the negative thought goes, but okay.
Okay. I like that.
And I love you. Oh my gosh. You little negative thought, you come here. And as soon as you go to grab it, it disappears. Where'd you go? Aw, I was going to hug you. You little negative thought, you. Oh, I love you. All it's attempting to do is to keep you where you're at, because you're stepping into the frontier, and the frontier is messy. The frontier is where your sandal breaks and you laugh. Ay, Dios mío. Ay, por favor. Ibero. Right? But it is what it is. It's how we look at it. Right? Nobody likes a dead flower unless it's the one that I have pressed in a book from my mother's coffin. The rose that I have pressed in a book, that reminds me, whenever I open that up, that reminds me of that day. That's a beautiful flower. But who likes dead flowers? That one's pretty special to me. So if we change the way we look at things, somebody said, you look at everything positive. I just look at it the way I choose to look at it, enjoy. It makes me check my building. Can it withstand the storm? Right? You're in Miami. Do you have shutters on your windows? If the hurricanes come, do you guys have shutters for your windows?
Yes.
Yeah. And some of us have roll down shutters. We're fancy. We push up. Some of them are electric. Bzz, and down come the metal shutters. Well, we have the same things in our world. I don't want to see that. Zzz. And we're like, why the hell isn't the sun out? Well, because you put your damn shutters up. There's your birds again.
And louder.
And they brought friends.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for letting the birds sing, Evelyn.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes, definitely it helps. So yeah,
Okay.
thank you very much.
And just be amazed, just be in amazement of the joy you bring to the world.
Thank you. I do feel like I do have this sense of like my past 3 days that I'm being alone here in my house. My husband haven't been here, and I'm being kind of like really enjoying the quietness and being by myself. And I'm being like, I have felt in my meditations, like my goals so vivid, so here. And I have been brushing into these tears of gratitude because I feel them so vivid, but sometimes it's just, I don't know if it's fear of like finally have them, or my old self definitely trying to hold them back. But I have this feeling that my life is about to change and things are changing. I know, I feel it, I see it. So yes.
So when would it be a good time for those to happen?
No.
Is there any other time that it could happen?
I don't know.
No. So if it's happening now, if it's happening in this moment, you have a choice to either accept or resist. And if you accept, it's a whole new you, isn't it? And are you okay with a whole new you?
Yes.
And so part of it is how do you let the whole new you show up? You're either going to have to expand or shove other things out. I would choose to expand. And that's you becoming more visible. That's you becoming more present. That's you becoming more by doing less. It is a transition. It is a huge transition. I get that. The question now becomes, do we want to live it in incremental moments, or do we just want to say, yep, I'm good, let's go? And so what I would encourage you to do, Evelyn, is to become wildly aware of the patterns in your day.
Okay.
Anything that's a pattern is a delay. So if you wake up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 4 a.m., change the clock 1 minute.
Okay.
If you go down the steps with your right foot first, we have a strong side to our body. You have a tendency to start down a set of stairs with the same foot every time. Change it. Go down the stairs sideways. Do everything that you can become aware of, do it different. When you recognize a pattern, do it different. Before you sit down, spin around. Right? Turn your phone sideways, turn it upside down, walk backwards. Just all of these little things keeps you in the present moment.
Awesome. Makes a lot of sense.
Thank you so much for being so amazingly strong to share your story with us.
Thank you. And I got myself a present, but I'm not going to tell you what it is only until I get it.
Okay. I love you. You're so amazing.
Thank you.
All right. Love you, Evelyn. Let's go to Julia. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning. Great morning. Can you hear me? Because I'm on a train, so.
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. I missed you. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Good to see you.
So, yes, I'm happy to be back. I want to share something and I have a question. So, the past week, I've actually not been on the session because I was super busy and like with everything that's going on. I had like 2 weeks where I was just like all in my feelings and feeling so negative and and angry. You know, I talked about it, and exhausted. And then all of a sudden, like I had that day where I just disconnected from everything, and I started writing, and I started, you know, like taking action. And I created this amazing project, this mission, this action plan in response to Black Lives Matter and everything. And, you know, it's funny because you always talk about perspective, Sean, and about choice. And it's true. And I was like feeling so productive and so good. And it gave me energy to work on that project. And then I was like, okay, well, I was feeling miserable for 2 weeks, you know, looking at everything and responding to everything on social media. Then I just took a couple of days to like be productive. And it made me think, and I was like, everything that happens on social media is great. And the talking, you know, we have to speak up. Then I was like, I started talking differently to people. And a lot of people that were like adding me to groups to have conversations and to be like activists, they were not responding like, you know, to what are we actually going to do? How are we going to change that? And then I was thinking like, you know, I'd rather be an actionist than an activist. And it's different, you know, it's
Huge.
yeah. Yeah. So it really has been a switch in my energy, a shift. And I'm like, you know, and it's so funny because you say it all the time, that it's like there's this moment where I have these little moments of awareness. And I was like, it's in everything like that. Even with like, I've been going back to the gym, I've been productive. And I noticed like, how can I be productive if I'm on social media 8 hours responding to everybody, or in all of the protests and manifestations? Then, you know, I cannot do anything. And the same thing, I was in the gym and I felt so good, and it was a while, and I was like, why do I, you know, go out of the things that make me feel good? And why do I always like sabotage myself? Well, I know what I want, I know my goals and everything, but there's so many distractions going on. And yeah, I've just been feeling really good. And it's funny because I have then these moments of aha, then it's like, oh yeah, Sean said that. So yeah, I wanted to share that. But I'm feeling good. I'm actually feeling good. And I'm like, you know, everything that happened in 2020 was like preparation, because there's more wonderful things to come. And like 2020 is still going to be my year, and it's going to be amazing. So that whole switch just happened. And the question that well, it's amazing because, you know, you talk about all of this stuff, and then you're sitting on these sessions, and I take notes, and I'm like, yeah, awesome, that makes sense. And then you're in the middle of a crisis, and it's like, oh, okay, that's what he was saying.
I love it.
So my question is, because you talked earlier with Brittany, and it was so funny, and even talked about the whole imposter thing, because I feel similar to Brittany sometimes. Like me with my team, I'm the #1 recruiter in my team, and I babysit my people. I do everything for everyone. And like what you said, it was so powerful. Like, if you can walk away from your business entirely, that's when you know that it's working right. But I always like, I don't know what it is. I'm just like that in general, but I always want to like do everything for everyone. But then you're exhausted because you're the only one that can do everything, and everybody relies on you. So that's really something that I work on. You know, I don't want a bunch of freaking Bernies. I want people that are autonomous and doing things themselves. But how do you, like, what's the difference between your business not needing you and you not doing anything, and the people not getting the impression that you don't do anything because they don't see you, but you're working behind the scenes?
Well, so the way you always stay in your business is be the one who, I'm not the #1 recruiter. I'm the #1 recognizer.
Mm-hmm.
I give the most recognition. So therefore, I've become an integral part to help people to water the seed. I've learned how to water the seeds really well at every level.
It's like developing your leaders.
Yeah. So I build them in a way that builds them up and able to withstand the storm, have the conversations. What do they do well? Because remember, all of my leaders that I work with know the 3 questions: permission to help, make you feel uncomfortable, take you out of that uncomfortable feeling. And they know when they call me, they're going to get homework.
Homework. Yeah. Like what exactly does that look like?
So if somebody were to call you, what would be two things? What would be a topic they would typically call you about?
Mostly drama and someone saying no or someone
Okay,
leaving the
so
team.
let me go back a step. When somebody calls me, and I know it's somebody on my team, I ask them two questions. The first question is this to build your organization or to complain?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna take notes. That's good.
And they'll go, well, it's to build my organization. Great. How can I help you build it? Well, so and so, that sounds like complaining. And so I can't help you with that. Because all I need to know is how to help build your business. Because the complaint can be turned around to how do I help my business? How do I inspire them? How do I motivate them? But if they're going to call and complain, listen, and my team knows if you need to complain, right? Because you complain up, you promote down, you complain up. If you're calling to complain and you don't have anybody else to do it with, let me know. I'll put the phone down and just holler real loud when you want me to pick it up, or hang up and call back and then I'll pick it up. I don't get paid. What do we get paid for, Julia? To find customers and build.
Bring in people and develop people.
Yep. And so if they're calling me to complain, they got to, there's a department somewhere, someplace. There's a Facebook someplace where you can go and complain.
That's true.
I know it sounds crazy, but I want to make sure I take care of them. That ain't taking care of them. They ain't my baby. I ain't their mama. I ain't their daddy.
I know.
I know I sound all fun and loving and caring and kind and everything else, but people don't call me to complain. They do once.
That's a good question. That's so good.
So is this to help build your business, or are you calling to complain? Because I can help you with one of those two. Well, it's to build my business. Okay, how can I help you build your business? Well, so-and-so's not doing their work. That sounds like complaining. Change the way you ask the question. Change the way you ask the question. So-and-so's not doing. What can I do to get better? That's to build your, that's the same as situation, just reframe it. And when they reframe the question, well, let me ask you, what two things do you, and here's the homework, what two things do you think you could do to help them grow their business? Well, that's what I'm calling you for. I know, but what two things do you think you could help them? Well, I could do this and I could do that. Which one of those would you want to do first? This one. Great. Go do that. Call me back. Let me know how it works.
That's so good, because I literally become people's therapist.
Now, if I'm having a one-on-one session and I need to do that, yes. But they're not there if they're calling to complain. Do I wind up having personal development? Listen, you guys get me an hour a day, 2 hours a day. My team gets me the rest of the time. I have conversations like this all the time with my organization.
It's so good.
It is to build them.
And because I have, maybe I made them that way, but like people take it the wrong way where you're like, don't complain, you know, like, I mean, maybe not in the way that you asked that question, but because that's not what you're saying. You're asking to be productive.
Listen, you can complain all you want. I can't hear it. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to help you.
Yeah. That's really good.
Now, that comes with 22 years experience. I get that. That's not, you sit there and go, oh, that's so easy to say, but I feel so uncomfortable saying it. You're going to have to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. How do you get good at it? Starting.
Yep.
Awesome. And also, like, I want to start creating leaders and pushing people outside of their comfort zone. And like, because I'm often, like I said, the person presenting, the person not visible. I don't want to be visible anymore. Like, I want to go more to the background But it's okay that people make mistakes. I know that, but it's like having that fear of, yeah.
So give them parts of it.
Okay.
Don't tell them to drive the train. Tell them to wash the car.
Okay.
Give them little tasks to do. Tell them to vacuum up. Listen, I need you to do the opening. I need you to do the first slide.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
But still being present.
Just do the first slide, and then I'll do the rest. And
Yeah.
so you do the first slide. I'll do the next three. Sarah will do the fourth slide, fifth slide, whatever it is. And you work through the process.
Yeah. Eating the elephant in pieces.
Yep. And then you recognize the heck out of them for as amazing as they did.
Recognition. Yeah. That's so important. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And when you say, your business is great when you can walk away from it, you never really completely walk away, right? But what is the difference between like managing and leadership? Because once you get to like a top position and you have thousands of people, like it's more building people up, but you're always there, but you're just not doing anything. Or what is that exactly then? Because my team is growing right now, but how do I get to that position where I'm like still present, but not per se visible?
So you go down in depth and you recognize the leaders that are above them, right? They call it tap rooting. Years ago, it was called tap rooting.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go down 6 levels and you thank them for being a part of the organization. And they freak out and call their sponsor going, "Oh my God, Julia just called me."
Yeah.
And
Okay, recognize, not developing them or not working with them.
Yeah, because my job isn't to, because I don't know how their I have an idea. My DNA runs through the organization,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know the cultural difference. See, when you build internationally, you learn real quick that the way you have conversations in Honduras for people who make $10 a day is different than people you have with Costa Rica who make $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
Who's different than people in Panama who don't have the particular political issues that are going on right now that they do in Colombia with the exchange rate. Colombia has a huge issue right now with the exchange rate in the dollar. Our prices haven't gone up, but the cost to Colombians has gone up dramatically. So you have a different conversation. When you build, then you have a conversation with somebody in the UK where they can't do more than 200 on their first order because that's called buy-in. So all of these cultural differences need to be taken into effect. The difference is that humans are still humans and they still want to be loved and recognized. Germans get recognized different than Slovenians, and Slovenians get recognized different than Italians.
Mm-hmm.
So the way to truly understand your business and how to walk away from your business is build a business in a place that you don't belong.
Yeah, that's good, Ricky. Because the mistake that I make is that I often build the ranks for the leaders, and then I notice that they don't have the skills that come with the leadership, and then all of a sudden they have this big team that I end up, keeping afloat.
So would you ever teach a 16-year-old how to fly a commercial plane? Put them in the pilot seat? Go for it.
Good luck.
Good luck. I ain't getting on this damn plane, but good luck. Enjoy your trip. Enjoy your trip. No. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Mm.
Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sean.
I love you. Enjoy your
Love
trip.
you too. Thank you.
Let's go to Shireen. Good morning, Shireen.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
Outstanding. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about a little bit about imposter. Basically, my question is more on awareness.
Okay.
And like you just said that your old self has been there since you were born or since you can even remember.
Yep.
But then you're also saying like how do I become so aware of negative thoughts, like so detached that even though they feel so true and so myself, that they're not, like I don't let them, like I'm aware of them, but
Right.
it's just so hard to detach myself from it, from them being the truth.
Got it. Have you ever seen a vine on a tree?
Yeah.
And it's a weed that grows on the tree, but it's using the tree to get to the sunlight.
Yeah.
And if you pick off the top part of the vine, does the vine still keep growing?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so let's just say the vine is 6 feet tall, and you take
Right.
you take the top 3 feet off the vine. Is there a chance that the vine will still continue to grow?
No.
Well, yeah, because you didn't affect the what? The roots of the vine.
But it's hanging onto the thing, right?
Well,
Like
yeah, it's growing up the tree, and you just take the top 3 feet off. The last 3 feet that grew, you just rip that off. Now the vine is only 3 feet tall.
but it's still growing.
It can still grow, can it? Because it's still
Yeah.
attached to you. So
Yeah.
you can even take all of the stuff that's attached to the tree. You really got to get at the what? The roots. So when you get attached to these thoughts that are coming in, when you get attached to these negative thoughts, a couple of things you might do. Let me ask you this. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but this is speaking to your subconscious mind. Do you want those negative thoughts to stay around?
Oh, hell no.
Okay. So you don't want them to stay around. So would it be okay if they went away? Because there's a difference between going away and not thinking about it. Would it be okay if they go away?
It'll be great. Yeah.
Okay. And if they went away, what would the new story be?
Absence of them and probably presence of like new thoughts, like the opposite.
Okay. Could be more negative thoughts, but the thoughts that are currently running through your head, if those thoughts disappeared, what would you want to replace them with?
Good ones.
Okay. Like what? What would be a good thought you'd want to replace it with?
Just the fact that just because I'm on this journey of like really growing
Mm-hmm.
and like really evolving, so just the person that I see myself, like the best version, just that coming into reality without any of these negative thoughts trying to not let it come out.
Okay. So that's a process. Give me a thought. Give me an example.
Just somebody who's
No, for you, what's a good thought that you would like to have more of?
just a self
Mhm.
that's strong and that has control over thoughts like that and
Okay.
is disconnected.
Still third person. You, what is an actual thought? Is it
Sorry, I'm
that
not understanding your question.
what would be a good thought you would want to have? I look good in these pants. I love my hair. I feel good exercising. I'm exercising more. I'm drinking more water.
Probably be more connected to my true self, and that because I know if I'm connected to my truest self, those thoughts won't matter.
Okay. So when's the last time you were connected to your truest self?
Honest, it's literally been like on and off, so I can't really put my
Okay. So give me a good thought you've had recently. That's not necessarily related to your true self. Just a good thought.
that I built the strongest team in Vancouver.
Okay. So have you?
No.
Okay, so that's a goal. See the difference? This is how we get confused. Give me a good thought you've had, not a good goal you've had, not a good wish you've got. What's a good thought you've had that you've done recently? Did you wake up and look in the mirror and go, "You look beautiful"?
No.
Okay, so maybe
But
that's where I would start.
Okay, but how's beauty got to do with my awareness?
Well, if you're not aware of your own beauty, how could you be aware of anything else? See, that's the old story showing up going, that's the dumbest ass thing I've ever heard. Are you not beautiful?
I mean, I don't think so.
I know, that's the issue. How many of you have ever seen Shireen and think she's beautiful? Type a B in the chat.
This is so funny.
I know it's so funny because I'm talking to the part of you that's like, oh, snap. He didn't just go there, did he?
Oh my God, thank you guys.
So my point is that the reason that you're having the negative thoughts is because you're not paying attention to the positive thoughts. You're not paying attention to the things that are literally, quite literally right in front of you, like you. And that makes you feel uncomfortable with everybody saying how beautiful you are, doesn't it?
Really uncomfortable, yeah.
Yeah. So the fact is that I'm guessing you don't want to go out and figure out a way to not be beautiful anymore, right?
No.
No. So the fact that you're beautiful loves to be you. So now I'd pay attention to just how beautiful you are. And when you accept that, guess what else you get to accept? Some other great things. There's no way you can have the strongest team in the world if you don't think you're beautiful. Yeah, but that's egotistical. There's a difference between being egotistical. Y'all look at me, I'm beautiful, versus I'm beautiful, and how do I leverage it to bring joy to the world?
I think I get what you mean.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. I'm not as beautiful as you. almost as
You're
beautiful
handsome.
as you. But I'm not as beautiful as you. I'm beautiful in a different way.
Yeah.
I bring my joy to the world every day on a call in the morning with a bunch of amazing souls who show up every day to ask questions. And when they ask questions, I get to fall more in love with them. I get to be of the most unique service to them in the world. And I get to remind some individuals just how beautiful they are. See how simple my job is?
That's because you've accepted yourself as beautiful. I haven't.
I know. And so the reason the old thoughts come up is because what exists, the physical presence of you that exists, isn't accepted yet. So therefore, it's very easy to have the negative thoughts to keep you from seeing the beauty that's right in front of you.
So you mean it's a process and I just got to just embrace the process? And
I would love the negative, because as soon as you go to love the negative, they can't be there. But I would spend more time thinking about the amazing things you do when you show your pictures and people like them. What I would encourage you to do is start using some of when you do your photos. Like I saw the one in the pants where you were squatting down with one leg out a little bit farther than the others. I'm just thinking of the picture.
yeah.
Sometimes we have to drop ourselves so we can pick ourselves back up. How many of you know what I'm talking about? And I would use that in your posts and get engagement. Because it's not talking about how beautiful you are. It's about talking about, you can talk about makeup and hair and how we put on costumes, right? Called our clothes. And these things, there's certain clothes that fit well on you. You know, there's certain makers that fit better on you than others, right? Certain designers. Yeah. So doesn't that make the same sense in personal development? There's certain designers that sit well with us better than the others.
Right.
And you might speak to the fact that you've been to seminars that absolutely turned you off because they were the hard charging, the driving, the you're not good enough. If you're either going to die on the side of the mountain or whatever. And you're like, that just doesn't sit well with me. Or maybe that did sit well with you. And the soft, fuzzy, kind, warm, gentle one is like, I ain't got time for that. It's no different than whether it's I'm not even going to try to say names of designers, but there's certain clothes that just fit better on you. Some of them, they got the butt built in them. I could wear washboard pants. I'm Irish. I left my ass in my other pants all the time. So there's nothing I wear that ever, there's nothing I could ever put on that goes, ooh, he's got a good butt. Ain't never going to happen. But see how we change the way we look at things and the things we look at change?
No, yeah, you're right. I think it goes down to me accepting more of myself.
Yeah, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're sharp, you're brilliant. You asked a tough question. So which part of you asked that tough question? Not the hater, not the negative mindset one. The negative mindset one's in the back screaming right now. They're backstage in the green room going, "What is she doing? We took a coffee break. Who the hell let her out?"
So you're saying it's always going to stay, right? I just have to like work my way around it and just
Well,
focus on the positive ones.
it's going to always be you. And it's not even focus on the positive ones. Let the positive ones show up more. Love the old ones. The old ones have gotten you here. The old ones got you to this call this morning. Love them.
I do that, Sean. I literally, when a negative thought comes, I try to see like what is it trying to tell me that I could
Yeah, but that's
improve
not
on or
loving it.
change.
That's not loving it. That's debating it. There's a difference. If I come to you with an argument, I'm a 6-year-old, you're like, I don't even have to listen to a word. I just love you. Let me hug you. I don't have to debate you. And that's, well, I'm trying to see where it comes from, and this side or the other. Love it first and then ask for the debate. Because once you love it, it's going to go, where'd it go? Faith.
Are you sure it's not? Sorry.
Go ahead.
So loving it does not mean accepting it though, right?
That's like forgiveness. Somebody could have done horrible things to me. I forgive them. Doesn't mean I accept it. I just forgive them. That's me drinking the poison, hoping they die. And the forgiveness is usually for ourselves. If you've ever had an argument, if you've ever gotten mad sitting in your room by yourself thinking about somebody, who's the insane one?
Okay.
They're not in your room and you're getting mad and frustrated and you're having an argument with nothing and you're losing. I'm sorry. Hello? What? Who's crazy?
Me.
Yeah. And then, but when we say, oh, here comes this thought. I love it. I'm going to love it so much. I'm going to squish it. It's so fluffy. I'm going to squish it. And then, okay, tell me your story. And there's going to be nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
It does, yes. Okay, one more thing on that
Sure.
same line of awareness. So like just because since I'm like I got into this business, it's only been a month and a half. And so obviously I'm like realizing a lot, like getting to know a lot of me and a lot of people and a lot of how I look at people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going good so far, but when I see somebody go better, the self in me tries to find the bad in them to make myself feel better.
Sure. Two ways to have the tallest building. Build yours bigger, tear theirs down. Got it. It's exhausting being a tear downerer.
Yeah. But I feel guilty about it. Like it's basically judging other people.
Not guilty enough.
Okay. I guess.
If you really felt guilty, you'd stop, but I don't feel guilty enough. This is fun.
No, it's
Not
not.
fun.
I don't like the self. I really don't like the self. It's just like I think it's been a part of me for so long. So it's the same thing. Like it's like I need to stop identifying myself with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a process, I guess.
Yep. And so the key is when you start to recognize that, go, oh, you were going to go get your hammer and try to and your bulldozer and try to push that person down. I love you. What does that serve me? How am I going to feel afterwards? Would I want somebody to do that to me?
No.
Nope. Then I would stop.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like God's getting mad at me because I think like that. That's my concern because I am trying to change.
You're not wrong. But does God not love you the next breath when you go, I shouldn't have done that? If you ask for forgiveness, does he not have forgiveness instantly available?
Yeah, I think so.
Or does he sit up there and complain to Jesus and the Holy Spirit going, would you look at Shireen for the love of me, for the love of me, for the love of me?
No, you're right.
Just pay attention to your patterns. That's the power of the secret sauce. When you pay attention to your patterns, you go, that's, it's called habitualization.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know we don't know.
True, true.
But now that you're bringing it up and you're saying it and you're having this dialogue and you're having this discourse with yourself, you get to now say, is this my choice? Is this joy or is this misery? And which do I choose?
Mm-hmm. Have you always chosen joy, or like it's like you've learned it as you went forward?
At 14 was the time that one of my biggest impacts. 14, 21, and 16, almost 17 years ago when Mason was born.
And then now it's just become like habitual that you always automatically choose joy. Right?
Well, I do my best. I'm still awakening. So I do my best, and somebody will go, my inner circle will go, was that really joy? Or Lynn Grabhorn in her book, Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, says, if you're going to go down the hole, if you're going to open up the pipe that's full of your misery and sorrow and bullshit, don't crack it. Open the thing wide open. So I will have days that I just absolutely go, blah, and then you don't see me, and I then go, I have to clean all that up.
Mm-hmm.
There are days that I blow.
Okay, and I think that feels better. Look, I'm still trying to find something bad. Just kidding. No. Okay. I get it.
So next time you look in the mirror, what will you see?
I am beautiful.
Yeah. It still feels weird to say it, doesn't it?
So weird.
Yeah. But until it's not, and then, so there's the 4 stages. There's the fear of saying it. There's the sadness when you realize you've always been beautiful. There's the new excitement that you don't have to tell everybody you're beautiful because everybody freaking knows if they got, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if they can't see, if they can hear your voice, they know you're beautiful. And then it becomes the new normal. But there's always the fear that you're going to go through, the sadness. Oh God, I've been beautiful since I can remember. The excitement, I'm beautiful. And then the new normal. Mm-hmm. This is me. You get to look at me. Yeah, check it out.
I wish to get there. Why the heck is fear in every stage in life?
Because the
Sean?
brain looks for 2 things. The brain looks for 2 things. Will it kill me, or how fast can I recognize the pattern? The brain is designed with the amygdala and the fight or flight system to keep us from hurting ourselves. It's what keeps us from walking off a building. You looking at yourself in the mirror is no different to the brain because of the way it's been programmed in, walking off the side of a building at 45 stories up. You wouldn't want to do that. It is no different. The brain knows no different from the chemical processes that's produced from the amygdala and the hippocampus and the hypothalamus. All of the stuff, all of the chemicals that are produced in your body that produce the same kind of fear of you saying I'm beautiful is no different. It wouldn't be any different than you staying on the edge of the parapet of a 45-story building about ready to take the next step. It is the exact same fear.
You're so right. Because like, as I said, I'm beautiful. I'm literally sweating. Like I'm literally profusely sweating.
Because you have been wired that because either a whole bunch of your family was beautiful and you were always picked on, or you're the most beautiful one in your family and you were picked on. Either way, you were picked on. And the fact, the second that you agree that you're beautiful, it's the equivalent of stepping off a 45-story building. Now you have to differentiate the difference between those two. You literally have to go, well, I'm not walking off a building. There's no if you're sweating, you are in what's known as a traumatic state. If all of a sudden 911, if the ER just showed up, the emergency squad, the first responders showed up, they'd be checking your body for trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And that came from the inside. See, we all talk about let's give Shireen a script and let's let her go out in the world and beat herself up with a script. It ain't gonna work. If you saying to yourself, I'm beautiful, makes you break out in a sweat, we got some other issues. You're finding your secret sauce and it scares the bejeebies out of you. But you'll never find your secret sauce because you don't want to walk off 45-story buildings. They're not the same. They are to your mind. The brain looks for 2 things. Will it kill me, or how fast can I recognize the pattern? And you say you're beautiful, it's the most scariest thing you've ever done.
So like change it by?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Change it by like changing all my patterns, like being more aware of?
I wouldn't go too fast too much because you can shut down. Those are called breakdowns. But I would just start writing, just write the word beautiful. Don't even say I am, just write the word beautiful. And see how it feels. See how many different ways you can write it. Print it, small, big, script, big B, big I.
Mm-hmm.
And just be aware of how you feel, even writing the word. And then put your name and that word on the same page and watch how you feel.
Whew.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not saying even in the sentence. You understand, folks, this is what I'm talking about. When you listen, as a certified self-talk trainer, certified coach, certified life coach, certified addiction to approval instructor, all of these things that I've gone and gotten degrees for from people who shouldn't have been giving out the degrees. How many of us went to that class? But it's like you lack a basic understanding of humanity. You may know all of the clinical terms and the words that make you sound that you should be giving out degrees, giving out certificates. They have very little understanding of human nature. I've never once heard somebody say, write down your name and write down the word beautiful on the same page. And you just went, oof, oh. No, they want to walk you through a whole nother process. This has to be a process you begin to fall in love with. This is how you uncover your secret sauce.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
And it sounds crazy though, right? It sounds like, oh, that can't work.
Yeah, because I'm like, I want to build a team here. What's that got to do with me telling myself I'm beautiful?
Well, nobody can see your beauty, so therefore nobody can enroll with you because you're a fake.
Yeah, imposter.
I love you. And here's the good news. You've been this not you for so long. Nobody can really see it until they get to know you. And that's why you probably have relationships that may not last very long or get very deep. Wait a minute, I only asked a question. You don't need to be like telling my whole life on the call, you idiot. I get it.
No, honestly, I don't even care. If it helps somebody, if somebody gets help by listening to
But
my
it's not
story, why
about
not?
this. Listen, see, you just proved it again. This isn't about them getting help. It's about you getting help.
And it's about me.
It's okay. Yes. And back about me again. When can it not be about me? Guys, if you're on the phone right now, you have just been taken to a master class of being able to have a conversation with beautiful women. They have absolutely put themselves together in a package that is a 10. But boy, the second that bow comes off, they turn into a 2 because they have stood up for so long trying to deal with all of the things that makes them beautiful, from the sound of their voice, from their eyes to their lips, you name it, to all of the things that we can fall in love with that makes the entire package. Julia with her hair. It's like, what do I do with my hair? I try to hide my hair. Gigi with her hair. I try to hide my hair. All of these things that make us who we are, we do our best to hide. But we do know it gets us attention. It'll get us in the door. The challenge is what do we say once we're in the door? And what I'm helping you is that the door you're wanting to get through, Shireen, you're already inside the room. The door you're knocking on for success and everything else, turn around. You're already in the room filled with all the success you'll ever want. All you'll ever need is already inside the room with you. Yeah, but I don't want it to be in the room with me. I want it to be out there that I can go hunt it. I can get it.
No.
You're this amazing, beautiful soul that as you awaken to you, can garner attention in a way that you can bring value to that attention versus just having to deal with it. That's the challenge, is that, see, I get emails and messages all the time. And I say, oh, I love that. Thank you. How can I be of service? I know it gives me the ability to draw people into my world that I would have never drawn into my world before. Yet when they show up and they praise me and they say, oh my gosh, you're amazing. You changed my life. Awesome. How can I help again today? I know what to do with it. I'm okay with receiving it. I accept it. I'm the best at what I do in the world. I accept that. You're the best at what you do in the world. Every one of you. And when you begin to receive that, when you begin to accept it and understand, you are the best at what you do in the world. We all see the memes. God didn't make no copies. Why are you trying to be like everybody else? You're an original. We hear it, but it's like, yeah, I'm original. Yeah, whatever. You are. I'm looking at my screen, 25 on this page. Nobody looks like you. Nobody's got a pose like you. I'm not going, I wonder which picture is Shireen. Oh no, that's exactly her. You are 1 in 7 billion, my love. Get over it. There's scars that you carry, right? Paulo Coelho in his book, Manuscript Found in a Cross, the main character cop says, the scars you carry are stronger than the swords that made them. We just don't see your scars.
And I feel like I don't give them enough acknowledgement or...
No, of course you don't, because it's like, well, wait a minute, but it takes away from my beauty. You know, it actually adds to your beauty. Because now you're more like me than I thought before. And that's what everybody wants. They want to know, how can somebody so beautiful spend time with me? Because you're more like me than you thought.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if all I used was polysyllabic words and I used I hear some of my friends talk and I'm like, one day I'm going to learn how to speak like that. But I don't think I ever will. It's not in my nature.
What's polysyllabic?
Yeah, many syllables.
Oh, sorry, English is not my first language.
No, that's okay. It's not mine either, although that's the only one I know.
Okay.
Tertiary butyl alcohol, that's a polysyllabic word.
Oh, damn. Okay. I learned something new.
Compound words are 2 syllables. No, that's 2 words together. See, we're not even going to go into English class.
It's okay. I think I got what you're saying.
Comprehensive, right? Comprehensive. That's 4 syllables. So that's a polysyllabic word.
Okay.
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 But let's get back to you. Your name on a page, and I don't care if you open the book this way, your name on this page, beautiful on this page, and just look at it. It's not even on the same page, not even in a sentence. But begin to sit in your beauty, and you'll be amazed at what you find.
You know, I feel like I've grown up in an environment where calling yourself beautiful has been deemed as something like basically being narcissist or like.
Really? That's what you grew up with?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like I think it's looked down upon if like you, because I remember when I used to be a kid and I love acting, so I used to always be in front of the mirror. So my family would always tell me, you know, if you look at yourself more, you're gonna become ugly. This is what I've grown up with.
Mm-hmm. Totally get it. This is why I'm not saying, well, you're beautiful, get over it, love it. I mean, you're like, yeah, right. 100,000 words have been spoken to you about why you are not beautiful. So I'm going to go back to the basics. Your name on one side of the page, beauty on the other. I don't even care if you take the piece of paper and you write it on this side, turn it over and write the name on the other side. Just turn the page back and forth.
Okay, I'll do that.
Begin there, and then let me know how it goes.
Sounds good, Sean. Thank you so much.
Okay. And you can hit me on Instagram when you're like going, I can't even do that, right? Blah, blah, blah.
I definitely will. I certainly will.
All right. I love you. I appreciate you.
Okay. Love you, Sean. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to Jessica to wrap us up. Oh, no, we got 2 more. Jessica and Daniela. Jessica.
Hello, Sean. How are you?
Outstanding.
Okay, so the old story's been creeping up on me, and then I had to get out of the house, and my battery's gonna die. I wanted to ask, can your secret sauce be a traumatic event?
Your secrets, the traumatic event is part of your secret sauce, yes.
Okay, so this time today last year, I was in Kos in Greece, and I was teaching swimming. And one morning I woke up and someone ran over to the breakfast area where I was having breakfast, and a man said, "Can anyone do CPR?" And he didn't have very good English. And I said, "Yeah, where?" And he showed me, and I ran. And what happened before all of this, a boy who was under the age of 5, he was in a hotel room where the door didn't close, and they decided to stay in there. And the boy pushed a suitcase out the way, and he walked out of the door, and he walked into a swimming pool and drowned.
Wow.
So that was before, and I don't know how long he was in for, but I know that when the man called me and I ran, I know that it had been a long time. So my friend, it was like, okay, we need a first aid box. And I was like, I'll get it. And I ran and got it. When I came back, all of us did CPR. There were 6 of us doing CPR. And we got water out of the body. But we all knew that, we all had a feeling that it was, I'm a first response. So I'm a lifeguard. I'm used to saving people right now while it's happening. But this was, the facts were there. They were in front of us. The ambulance was late. They didn't have a defibrillator. The media wrote different articles that weren't the truth. And the same day after what happened, and the boy went to hospital, I had to go back and teach. So I had to act as though nothing happened, and I had to go back to teaching. And this woman comes over and she was like, "So what happened to the boy?" And I was like, "I can't talk about it." And I just taught, and then I cycled back to my flat, and there was like a rental place, and there was a car from the rental place that swung out and nearly run me over. I pressed my brake. I pressed the wrong side of my brake on my bike. I went flying and dislocated my knee. So then I had some wet shorts in my bag from when I was teaching, and I wrapped them around my knee. And then I walked to the nearest hotel, and I spoke to this woman, and I said, "I need a taxi," and she said, "I'll take you home." And she took me home, and I don't know, it's been a year, so I feel like I've been trying to tell myself that, I did everything I could, and I can still see everything like it was yesterday sometimes, and then other days I'm fine. So yeah.
So this resides inside of you. This is highly emotional. Therefore, it's wired itself into your body. It's not something you'll ever forget. the question is that the days that you are fine versus the days that you're not usually are correlated to events that are happening in your day.
Right.
Right. So law of attraction says that, what we think about and think about, we bring about. So sometimes that moment that you were given, the days that you're okay, you realize it was a gift you were given to be more present, to be able to want to teach more, to save somebody. See, you have no idea how many people you've saved from that misery by teaching what you've taught. Because nobody's calling you up and going, Jessica, you kept my son from drowning. But as an instructor, there's a part of you that says, was there something more I could have done? And the answer to that is no. You did everything you could do. But yet, the way we see the world, we beat ourselves up. Here it is a year later, we're still beating ourselves up for that versus using it as the catapult to continue to tell the story. Maybe your goal is to teach swimming to parents, is to do an online course, is to teach CPR, a variety of things. There's a part of you that says, I have to do more.
Yeah.
And in understanding the part of you that has to do more, the challenge is that the days that you're sad is the days that you're avoiding doing those things that you could do to solve that situation.
Yeah. But it's funny because after that, I came back home and then I went for a manager's job and I did it, but it wasn't meant to be. I don't think I was ever supposed to be there,
right.
But I was in charge of everyone and I did everything for everyone. So there was a girl and her mum had cancer and I was there for her, and then literally I was there for everyone, but I wasn't there for myself. And I planned the year 2020 was for work and for everybody else. That's what I said when I started. And then now 2020 is on hold, and now I've got to concentrate on me. So it's strange. And now I'm wondering if all these awakenings I'm having are all connected, and I just need to, you said when you if you're going to go down the hole and open it up, then open it up wide. Now I'm like, okay, I don't care. Prise it open.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now you understand. See, all of what has been hidden, now that has been exposed and put into the light, now is lessons that everybody here understands. Everybody may see you in a different light right now. They may understand your fear, your sadness sometimes, or your less than joyousness, because they know of a story. This is what vulnerability is. This is what having guilt is versus being shamed. Shamed is, I'm not telling anybody because I could have done more. Shame is, you're the problem. Guilt is, I'm going to take action. So now you are guilty of the situation in a way that you're deciding to take action on it to change the way you look at things.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, even the addiction to approval kicked in because I was at home and I didn't want to say, because I guess my parents are probably sick of me like talking about it, but I know that when I look at the facts, I know that I did everything, and my mum has been the best person. And I remember when I rang her the day after, and she was like, "How are you?" And I was like, "I'm okay. I'm just lying here feeling sorry for myself." And she was like, "Okay, I want you to do 2 things today." And I was like, "Okay, what are they?" Because I feel like my mum can be like you, Sean, sometimes. Like, she says stuff and I know I have to do it, and I'm like, "Oh, do I have to do that?" I'm like, "Okay." And she said, "I want you to brush your teeth, get dressed, and then feel sorry for yourself." And I was like, okay. And then the next day I called my ex-boyfriend, and then he broke up with me. But I'm glad that he broke up with me, because I realized that I was dragging him down, because I was having, before it all happened, I was having panic attacks in therapy, and then after what happened, they all stopped. I haven't had one since, because I think it just silenced me. I just knew that in that situation, I had to be there for everyone and do everything. And when they were doing CPR, they were rushing, and it was too fast. And I remember saying out loud, slow down, and counting, and just counting. And yeah, it's weird how you look back and you learn from things, and it makes you stronger.
No doubt.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
As you go through today, realize that you now have this experience that doesn't have to be, you don't have to tell everybody the story, but you can use the story to tell everybody.
What, sorry, say that again.
So you don't have to tell everybody the story, but you can use every part of the story to tell everybody. Meaning, sometimes you would say to people, listen, sometimes you just got to count. There's a story back in my life. I'll tell it. Maybe I'll share it with you one day. But I had to say out loud. I just had to start counting out loud to slow people.
Okay.
Right? Sometimes you pull the wrong brake. I was riding my bike one time and I grabbed the wrong brake and I went tumbling. Sometimes we try to slow down and we wind up breaking our pattern, breaking our stride, and we fall down.
Yeah.
Sometimes we got to use our work shorts to bundle up a cut.
Yeah, literally.
Right? That's what I'm saying. You can tell every part of this story without ever having to tell the story to people, because when they hear the story, they miss the message. You have all of these messages. Sometimes you can come to a complete stranger and they'll take you home.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I know there's really good people out there. And yesterday I went for a walk by the canal. I'm here now, and I went to the supermarket, and there was a woman who had crashed her bike, and there were already people there, and she had her leg with a cloth. It was filled with blood, and I walked over and was like, "You okay?" And she was like, "Yeah." And the store manager was like, "Oh, there's paramedics on the way." And then I said, "Okay." And then I said to the store manager, I said, "Is the queue long for the supermarket?" And he said, "Yeah." And I felt, I don't know, it was like, now if something happens, like, I feel like if there was an earthquake, I could be there to tell everyone, okay, everyone, let's go outside and just sit in a circle or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Right. And we have no idea what the future experiences of our past story, how we'll be able to leverage it or use it. Here's what I do know. Our past stories will either leverage it or it will leverage us.
Mm-hmm.
And when we learn to leverage it, we awaken to it.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
I didn't think that I'd be able to say that. I really didn't, and I tried to kind of put it away.
I'm glad you shared it with us.
Thank you so much. And I love you all so much. And I'm honestly, I can't believe that a year later, you know, my knee's fine, and I can hear everyone's hearts and know that they're gonna help other people with those hearts, because that's what we need.
Yep. You're amazing.
So are you.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. Daniela. Let's go to Daniela.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Outstanding.
So I'm kind of in a little battle with myself.
Sure. Imagine that.
Huh? um, so not only am I having a hard time writing my list,
Mm-hmm.
but you know how you asked us to put a video or like a description to get to like describe yourself just a little bit?
Yep.
I can't seem to do it.
Sure.
I think I've recorded like 20 videos and deleted 20 videos.
Sure.
And I'm
Welcome
just
to
like,
finding your secret sauce.
blah. And you find like everything wrong with it.
Sure.
Or it's not good enough. Or like, well, I didn't
Absolutely.
say this. That doesn't really describe me. And then you delete it. And then you're like, did I really? I know I've accomplished many things, but I'm like, I don't know what they are. So I'm sitting there trying to write these things. And I'm like, all right, I don't know. This is it. I guess this is all I've accomplished. I don't know.
So when do you think you'd get it done?
I don't know. Today, I guess.
Okay, cool. How would you feel if you got it done?
I'd feel amazing if I got it done. It's just
Awesome. So who's putting the stricter requirements on?
who's putting the what? I'm sorry.
The stricter requirements on you, me or you?
Me.
Okay. And who are you battling for your success, me or you?
Me.
Then who do you think could win? You or you?
Me.
Cool. Just decide when you want to win. And so here's the thing. Can you put up a video? Goes, I don't know what to put up. I'm Daniela. I'm looking forward to getting to know you.
I almost put that up because I was like, I don't know what to do anymore.
What if you were the first one to put up the video? Now the race is on between you and Gigi. What if you were the first one to put up the video going, I don't know what to put up. I'm so afraid. And I don't know if any of y'all are like this, but if y'all were like this, click like.
It's like you're reading my mind.
No, it's not. It's not because I've never been here before.
Right?
10,000 people later. I think I'd probably figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I say human nature is predictable. You think I asked you to put up a video because I thought it'd be easy?
Probably not.
Good Lord. You think I asked you to put up a video because it's definitely not going to help you find your secret sauce? Let me give them something to waste their time on. So there you go. Put up a video if you want to.
All right. Okay. I sure will.
Can you do a video? Let me ask you that. Can you do a video?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Then I would just do that. Don't worry about what it looks like.
Okay. Sounds good to me. I'll have mine up soon.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.
I mean it.
I do too.
I know. Hey, Brittany. Let's go to Brittany.
Okay, so last thing.
Yes.
In this, it's like Gigi was saying all the words that I take to say I don't know who I am, or it is I know who I am, but it's back to that afraid to just exist in that in me.
Right.
Oh, hold on, sorry. Let me turn it down in the background. Dude. I have to remember that it's always me versus me.
Yep.
And the things are the way that they are because that is how they are supposed to be.
Right.
And our old story is always so desperately fighting because it doesn't want to let go.
Yep.
So is that it disallows us to step into our authentic true selves. So I guess my question would be, what habits, things, placements, I like to get to the nitty gritty, all the way down to the little micro, could assist someone being their authentic self?
So I love that you asked what and not how.
Oh no, I already knew you was gonna say that's Googleable.
That's a huge change. That's an awareness. So down to the nitty gritty is down to the nitty gritty. What's the nitty gritty in your life?
My thoughts,
Yep. And then what's nitty gritty in the physical?
my actions,
Yep. But what's nitty gritty you're not aware of?
my subconscious actions.
Your breathing, your autonomic nervous system,
Oh,
your breathing, your heartbeat.
blinking. Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Digestion. So if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, start paying attention to those things as the observer. Can you feel your heartbeat? Can you sit and count your breaths? How many times do you breathe in a minute? What changes your respiratory rate? Can you look in the mirror and watch your eyes dilate? Think of different things and watch your eyes dilate. How often do you swallow? That's nitty gritty stuff. And what you'll find is that there's a pattern based upon your thought process that your body instantly operates into a system, jumps into a pattern. This is why when I say, before you sit down, do a 360. Well, that's stupid. You're right. I'm not sure who said stupid. If your company would pay you 10 grand a month for you to spin around before you sat down, you know how many people would spin around before they sat down? It's just that nobody believes it's true, so therefore they don't do it. But anybody who believes it's true does it. So pay attention to the subtleties of life, because the subtleties is what makes up the things that suffocate us. So you can suffocate in joy. You can be covered up in joy. You can be covered up in misery.
And I think that's what I do. I do that, and it's these highs and lows, all the challenging things. I'm grateful for that challenge because it allows me to know this or to know that, or it's like this challenge showed me this.
So
and then
why look at anything as a low anymore?
I don't know why. Yesterday I was pretty funky all day, and I'm like,
because the day before you weren't.
I don't want to subconsciously, Brene Brown, you know how she says when things are too good, we automatically want to project something negative.
But here's the thing. Could it be better? What if this was listen, there's an old Irish saying, may the best of your yesterdays be the worst of your tomorrows. What if this was the suckiest life was? What if this was the shittiest life was right now?
I believe it.
But it can never get any worse than this. This is as worse as it gets, and it's your best day that you've ever had. I had an amazing day yesterday. That was the worst day I'll ever have. That's the worst day of my life. Change the way we look at things, and the things we look at change. If we're going to compare, why do we compare to the low? Why don't we compare it to the high, going, that's the most difficult day I'll ever have. Oh my gosh. Now we have to really pay attention to what can get better. The reason that we find things that are bad, the reason that we find things that take us into funky land is because A, we know we got out, B, we know we can live through it. But C, we don't know what's going to happen when we're having a freaking amazing day. We don't know what our friends are going to say about us if we have day after day after day after day after day after day after of amazingness. How come people ask me, do you ever have a bad day? Yes, it was yesterday. Well, I was with you yesterday. It was pretty awesome. I go, I know, and that was the worst day I'll ever have. What? Welcome to my world. But your mom was an alcoholic, and your brother did this, and your family did that. I know, but that was then. This is the worst day I'll ever have. Those days allowed me to get to yesterday, which is the worst day I'll ever have. It does come down to choice. Could yesterday have been funkier? Oh, heck
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. So why did you stop?
Well, that's the thing, because I'm like, because before, and I compared it to my maybe this is why I was feeling like what I used to do, right, was just, I used to be very secluded because I had a very bad attitude problem. And surprise, um, very, 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 very bad attitude, worse than it is now. So I would sit in that attitude, and then I would be like, why don't nobody want to be, why they don't want me to watch the movie with them? Like, why they, and I'm like, girl, because you got a bad attitude, nobody want to be around that. Would you want to be around that? No. So yesterday, I was in a funky mood, but I was around other people, and I'm like, okay, the way that I feel has nothing to do with them. So I did a very good job at existing with like outside of that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I so desperately wanted to talk about it, but at the same time not talk about it.
Right.
Maybe I could have journaled, but and it was like I wanted to talk about it, but I put expectations on how I wanted to talk about it, like how people should respond to what I'm saying.
Right.
And when they weren't giving me the response that I wanted, I just like beheaded them. And I'm very grateful now, because one of the people that I tried to bring down with me, which is so unfair, I feel so bad. So I'm about to text them or call them now, and not apologize, but thank them, because they were just like, I see where you're going, and I can't go there with you.
Right.
I just can't. And I was like, well, screw you then, But that was like a millisecond of a thought. Like, see, you don't even care, And then I was like, the best thing for me to do is not respond, because they also have boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And why would I cross that boundary? And I was like, and I know that this negative way that I'm feeling is very temporary. But I felt like they owed it to me to help me get out of that. I looked to them for that, and they didn't. And it just
Is it
piled
their
up
responsibility?
to me as my friend, yeah, but not for me.
Right. But can anybody be responsible for you?
No.
And if they're your friend, they're responsible to you. Aren't they playing their role by what they do? See, we get hurt when we put expectations out.
Yes.
And that's
Disappointed.
the part that hurts us, is that they didn't meet our expectations. They're meeting their expectations perfectly.
And they keep saying that to me too. And I'm just like,
Let's go
And
back to 2,000 year
oh my
old,
God.
2,500-year-old history. Epictetus says, decide what's within your circle of influence. And if you're working,
I keep teetering. I keep teetering on that.
why teeter?
I don't.
You're the one
Well,
that's
I just that, and it's like 1 minute I'm like, okay, yeah, they do whatever they want to do. You know, it's cool. I'm very understanding. If you need something extra, just communicate that to me through all the things that aren't like I accept you and I am here to work with you, you know, through and not take it personally. Like I don't take it personally, you know. All that I ask of you to do, because if you're saying to me that, you know, I just need you to communicate that. Communicate when something is a challenge for you so that
but
I'm more
you say
aware.
you say the word before that makes it mute.
But,
I need you.
oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. If you'd like, feel free to communicate. But it's in your need that you get hurt.
Yeah. I'm putting it in my need. See, this is interesting because if they come to me and they say, I need help, I make their need my need, but their need is not my need. Their need is only as much as my need as they allow it to be.
Right, but the need that you have whenever they come to you is that you get some validation. It ain't even about helping them. The fact that they say it gives you a checkbox going, see, I'm important.
Right. What is that about? That goes back
Well,
to what
which
I
one
was
of the
saying
imposters
earlier.
would you like to identify it as?
The overthinker, the narcissist,
The wounded inner child.
the wounded inner child.
The fixer.
Definitely a fixer. I'm definitely a fixer.
Yep. So therefore, all of those things, when you identify those as all of those things, can you walk away from all of those things?
One at a time or all at once?
Right. Either way, but can you begin to the transition from that
For
to
sure.
you, the authentic?
For sure. It's taking a lot more power. I'm grateful for my strength mentally because it's taking a lot more force and power to walk
It'll
away from
take a
those
lot more
things.
force and power until
Right. So we're only 6 months in, 6 more months to go.
Right.
And I wanted to know if you can repeat something to me that you said before, because I wanted to put it back into my psyche. 21 days to be conscious of the habit.
Yeah, they
100 days.
Well, it takes a year to break this stuff. Think of how many years.
So 6 more months. I got 6 more months.
They say 21
Oh,
days
I'm excited.
to habit. It's just to become conscious of it, because the reason that cigarettes have 21 cigarettes in a pack of cigarettes, do you think they haven't figured out how many days it takes to form a habit if you just had one a day? But it's the repetition of it. And that's the thing. It's the repetition of it. It's the repetition of it. That's why it takes a year for people. But if you were to dive into this in 21 days, why do you think they have 31 days or 29 days, whatever it is, in detox facilities? Because you ain't getting away from it. It is 21 days of hardcore detox. We never go through a hardcore detox on our life. We never go to a secret sauce conversation and go, ain't going to work here. We're all full on crazy. Tell that stuff someplace else.
That's another thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Secret sauce.
Yep.
So I keep, and this is just throughout my life, and I'm going to equate secret sauce to potential, I guess. Everybody else can see my secret sauce but me.
Sure.
And it's like, sometimes I know what my secret sauce is, but I can't stand in it. I can't drink it. Maybe I don't know what it is then.
Well, the other challenge is that the people who think they see your secret sauce, it's real easy to see the flower, to see the rose when they're in the middle of the
Yeah.
thorn.
Yeah. Dang, I was just saying that yesterday too.
but here's the thing: they haven't even seen your secret sauce. They just see the sauce that doesn't hurt them so much.
I was just saying that because I was telling somebody, I was like, I said it's crazy how people from afar see more of your value than people that are right there in your face.
Right,
But
because
then I have
they
to
only
think, and
talk.
I'm like, yeah, to the part that shallow, it's shallow.
Think of who does
So
more talking to you, you or them. So it's almost impossible for you to see your sauce, but they get to see it because they don't have all of the negative conversations. They wouldn't be your friend if you talk to
yeah,
them the way you talk to you.
yeah.
Yeah. But we're kind of stuck with ourselves. So wouldn't it be nice if we started to like ourselves?
Okay, so just to confirm, 21 days to become conscious of a habit, 1 year to shape the habit.
Usually.
Roughly,
Well, listen,
roughly, roughly.
here's how it changes in 5 minutes. The granddaughter comes up to the grandfather who's overweight and smoking and says, "Grandpa, please don't die." He puts a cigarette down and goes for a walk that afternoon. And never stops walking and never picks up another cigarette. There has to be a tremendous amount of emotion tied to it. Emotion changes us. I can still tell you the color of the gun, the number, the color of the shirt the guy was wearing when he pulled a gun on me. I was in a taxi, and he tapped the gun on the window and said in Spanish, "Give me your money." Some training I've had, I looked down the barrel. I saw there was I saw the next chamber. It was a revolver. The next chamber in the revolver was empty. So if he pulled the trigger, there was no bullet coming out. He might have had a bullet in the loaded, but I don't know. I can remember that. Doesn't bother me. I think it's funny. I almost died in the intersection when I told the taxi driver, "Eso tu tío? Is this your uncle?" Oh shit! Almost died in a car accident. It's the emotion we put behind it. When you choose to make this change, Brittany, like we heard Jessica, we heard Leo yesterday. When you choose to make these changes, when you choose to let it out, it won't sound sexy, but it'll be one of the most sexy moments of your life. But I thought I was there. You've come close.
Nope. Only that was just one thing. That was one part. Now I have to do it until I'm conscious of it in my other,
Yep.
in my romantic relationships and in my friendships.
Yep. And those are highly emotional. The other ones was family. This was being accepted. The other one you could only be unaccepted.
Yeah.
This one, though, now you've got to work to be accepted, and the fact that you were unaccepted, that it's a much stronger debate that goes on inside of you. And here's the thing: when you get through it, whether it be a sauna or an ice bath, when you get through it, you'll still be here. You will still be here. You'll be different, but you will still be here. And that's the thing. We think when Jessica went through this, she said, "I didn't think I could go through this." Well, that's why we choose not to think. The emotions took over and the story was told. And now the story can't be untold. We all know something about her that we never knew before. And it doesn't have to be in a public forum. Yet when it does happen, you will have changed forever. And the fear is, what am I going to change into? What am I going to morph into?
Better. I don't care. I don't have to know what it is.
Right.
It's just going to be better.
Yep. It'll be something.
It'll be something. It'll be different.
It'll
But
be,
whatever it is,
and difference not always bad.
I welcome it.
Cool. Outstanding.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Well, there you go, folks. Another day of misfit conversations where we all wind up fitting a little bit closer together, a little bit tighter together. Ask yourself today, if this was the lowest my life would ever be, what would I do with the opposite of this low? And it could be an amazing day, because the law of polarities always exist. It's what happens is we don't move down the board. We don't move down the line. We stay somewhere in the middle. This is a great day. This is a bad day. And there's the middle. When we make the great day the lowest day, man, what would happen? What would our new normal be? And when we fall into that, when we sink into that, when we become aware of that we can move our new normal, right? The fear, the sadness, I could have done this all the time, the shoulda, coulda, woulda, the excitement of the new, and then that becomes the new normal. Have an amazing day. You all deserve it. You're all amazing, beautiful, and courageous souls. I'm Sean Murphy, your head misfit. I'll see y'all where? At the next.
The next.
Y'all send some love to each other.
Thank you. Love you all.
Bye, y'all.
Love y'all.
Love you.
Love you, Rhonda.
Thanks for sharing.
Have a great
Love
day.
you.
Everybody.
Love you guys.
Love you, Sean.
Love you.
I love you guys. Have an awesome day.
Thanks, Roz. Love you too.